because we're going to talk about how to make your voice do exactly what you want, which is a problem that we all have in voiceover. Sometimes your voice is like you can't control it, you can't get it going how you want it to be. So we're going to address that's a voice acting issue. And this is actually a skills focused spotlight training tonight. We're going to talk not about marketing, but about the actual doing of voiceover. And I see, as always, Donna, we have a great group of folks on, new to us, and
Mhm.
people that are dear friends that keep coming back that we so appreciate. So let's rock and roll. Quick reminder to please turn your phone off, get it out of the way so you're not distracted. And we want to know if this is your first time on one of our spotlight trainings. Find the chat and say first time, and we'll welcome you. Whoa, Daleen, welcome. Dalen. Hi, Carol and Thomas Burton. Welcome. Welcome, Bob Winters. Michelle Cummings, nice to see you too. Albert Villamar, first time. Hey, Albert. So's Robert. So's Richard. Welcome, guys. So's David. And Brian Wells. First timers. One of these days we'll get a sound effect, Donna. Drive everybody crazy, like a little bell or something to welcome folks.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Great. Nice to see all of you. In our time together, guys, you're going to learn how to have a more conversational voiceover style. This is the style that books. This is the style that's your money voice. This is the style that will win you auditions and book more jobs without getting confused, stuck, or doing it wrong. It's for you if you're just starting out. It's for beginners and you want to know how to ace those auditions. You want to be able to better take direction. Maybe you've not been directed yet, but you want to get it right when you are. You want to give voice buyers what they want, understand performance secrets of voiceover pros, sound like the voice actors you hear on TV. How cool would that be? Get details on how to perform better and get to work. So if that's what you want, come in the chat and say, bring it on. Yes. Give me a thumbs up.
I like Bring It On. That's
Yeah, me
new.
too. I like that too.
I
Yeah.
got sounds good. Ready? Yes. Yep. Bring it
Yes, bring it
on.
on. Here we
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Like it too,
So,
apparently.
because there's new people, I'll just give a quick introduction to myself. I am Susan Berkley. I am the signature voice of Citibank. I was the voice of AT&T for years, and I come from a radio background. I also work with Howard Stern back in the day. I was on his show, but I am a working professional voice talent. I've done this for decades, and I founded GreatVoice.com, where we help launch thousands of voiceover careers. We've done this for years, and it just keeps getting better and better as you guys tell us about what you're booking and how much you like our program. So we're really honored to have you here tonight. I've written a few books. One of them is Speak to Influence, and the other is Voiceover Secrets Exposed. I know you've got it. One day, if we meet, I'll be happy to personalize that book for you. I've been featured in major media like the New York Times, CNBC, and ABC News. And got some of our team members on with us tonight. Of course, we have Donna in support in Magnolia, Texas. Donna
As
is
always.
one of
Howdy,
our
all.
talent advisors, and she is our director of customer success, doing a wonderful job. And we have Deborah Pryor in Los Angeles. Deborah is one of our talent advisors and demo coaches. We have David Brower down in Florida. David is also one of our demo coaches.
Hello,
And
hello.
the two of them, and Donna too, you guys are all professional voice talent. And since we're talking tonight about technique, I thought we would have some fun. I want to get your input as well, okay? So don't go too far away, Deborah and David. But first, have any of you ever recorded yourself, but you couldn't get your voice to sound like what you're hearing in your head? Come in the
Guilty, Your Honor.
chat
Yeah.
and let me know how it felt and what that was like. Did you have a specific time that happened? Have you been auditioning? Maybe you're on the pay to play services. Mike says it's so frustrating. So is Gabrielle. How else does it feel? Yeah, frustrated. It's happened for sure, says the iPhone. Yeah. Surprising, right? Felicia was like wondering why the heck. We were hearing that word frustrating over and over and over again. Brian sounds like Rod Serling in his
In
head,
your head.
but when he listens back, he sounds like Barney Rubble. Very funny. If you're of a certain age, you remember the Twilight Zone.
You are not alone.
Oh. Jonathan says, as a preacher friend said, I want to sound like Darth Vader, but I sound like Mickey Mouse. Bob's his own, that's funny. Bob's his own biggest critic. Terry says it's soul crushing, Terry. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, we get the picture. That's what we're going to, Ben says he's been dealing with that in his audition. So we're talking about that tonight. That's the topic. And how you can get relief from that agony, that soul crushing agony, Terry. So the reason this happens is because of something called the disparity principle. So we actually listen to our voice from inside our head, obviously, where the sound, though, it's distorted by the bones in our skull. And I hate to break it to you, but the sound everyone else hears is the sound you hear when you when you hit playback. That's true. That's our true sound. The one we hear in the speakers coming back to us. So the problem is though that we think we're sounding one way and we're really sounding another. And until it just takes some training, actually, some coaching to help you get the two where you want to be and learn how to control it. Sort of like riding a bicycle. David Brower was in the military. David, did you ever like pilot a big boat or fly an airplane in the military where like
No, I was on submarines.
so exactly. So
Yeah.
like is there something special you need to do to like can you drive a submarine? Or does that
Well, you can steer one.
like does that take some training?
It
Like
takes some serious training. It takes training to practice escaping from a submarine when you're at 450 feet.
oh my goodness. And I would imagine like things can go horribly, terribly wrong if you hit
Oh
the
yeah.
wrong button or
I,
flip the
I
wrong
I could
switch.
tell you stories, but that's for another day.
Another time, and I want to hear David next time I see you. That's crazy. So perhaps it's like, piloting a submarine, I don't know, but it's a new skill for you and it's going to take a little work, a little coaching, but you'll get there. But the reason we hear this is because of this disparity principle. We're listening to our voice from inside our head and everybody else is hearing what's coming through the speakers. So why is this a soul-crushing problem, Terry Dean? Because it causes you to lose confidence in yourself. And that's bad because when you don't have confidence, you don't shine and your voice will not sparkle. The voice is the organ of the soul. So we can't hide how we're feeling when we speak. It's impossible. Have you guys ever had that experience? Like even by the way somebody says hello, you know exactly how they feel.
Oh yeah,
Or even
absolutely.
worse, by the way someone says I love you. Oh my goodness.
By the way, someone answers the
By the
phone.
way they answer the phone. Exactly. We know in a second. So, what I'm saying is, if you don't have confidence in yourself, everyone is going to hear it, even though you're saying the words right. And maybe you're stressing the right words, it's coming out of your mouth, okay. But it's the confidence, that energetic thing that people perceive. And that's what causes you to book the job or be rejected. So, number two, if you're not comfortable with the sound of your voice, it's going to impact your performance. And what that'll mean is like every time you get an audition, you'll go like, oh, here I go again. Oh man, am I going to be able to make it this time? Is my voice going to do that weird thing again this time? You ever had that, Deborah?
Yeah.
The way I like go up here when I don't want to go up or it goes down
Yeah,
or it crackles
exactly.
when I do this, all of those things.
Mhm. Especially if I'm doing like animated stuff. That
Yeah.
crackle when, they'll give me a reference of like Japanese voice.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm supposed to, follow that tone.
Like anime.
Oh, anime,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it's not happening for
Doesn't
me.
work. How about you, David? That ever happened to you?
Oh yeah. I mean, it happens in auditions. It happened to me this morning. I was auditioning this very simple what I thought was very simple script, but then I turned on my overthinking module in the right side of my brain and made it much more complicated. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, my voice cracked, and I'm going, "What
Yeah.
the hell was
You see?
that?"
Yeah, what that was that. So we're going to talk about how to get rid of that tonight,
Yeah.
actually, because you guys do that all the time. You coach people to help them, and we help ourselves. Um, and this can also cause you to waste time doing a million takes, where like and the more you listen, the more you do it, the worse it gets. So this is an issue. And you don't book auditions, but you never exactly know why. And you might eventually give up, and we don't want that. So there are three key differences between acting, voice acting, and stage acting. And Deborah, you've done both. The
Mhm.
first one is proximity. So in voiceover, we're not talking to a giant audience like out there. The mic is right in front of us. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Deborah?
Yes, and often when I am coaching our students, many of them come from the public speaking era and
Oh, yeah.
or that field. I was talking to someone today and that was the case. And I love the way you said we don't talk out. You know, voiceover is very intimate. It's like I'm talking to you right now. In
Mm,
theater, we have to project because the theater is different. It's
mm.
big. It's even if it's
Stage.
49 seat, everything is big. But in voiceover, that is not the case because
Totally
it
intimate.
is way too much.
Way too much. And we don't project in voiceover. So that's a huge difference. But we're still acting in voiceover, but we're not projecting like we do when we're acting on stage. And the key difference, and man, if you guys are going to write anything down tonight, do this. Write down in voiceover, you are talking to one person only. It's just you and one other person, but they're invisible. Write that down. So that's the challenge. That's where you need the coaching because that's a little odd, isn't it, Deborah and David? David,
Ah,
I'll give your input because I know you worked on
Yeah,
like I
it
did, and
is.
we learned that in radio, right? There's no
Well,
one.
we do learn that in radio, and most, I think a lot of you have heard the theater of the mind kind of comment. And the reality is they are invisible, but with that said, you still want to visualize somebody. You want to have a conversation with somebody. And so, yeah, they're going to be invisible, but in your mind, it could be your next door neighbor. It could be a combination of six people you grew up with in grade school. It's
Exactly.
just, you
So
need to have somebody.
we need to conjure up that person. Deborah, anything you
Yeah.
want to add to that?
I just wanted to say create a world.
Mm-hmm.
Create a world,
Yeah.
behind that scene, make it a scene. And
Yep.
that invisible person is in that scene. And
Yep.
you're responding to their responding, there's a lot going on.
That's right. And so these are acting skills that you guys are going to need to learn to really knock this out of the park. And here's some other reasons why you need to think like a voice actor and not an announcer. Well, the main one, and I always say this, but I can't say it enough. This is not about your voice. So most of you are here because it's sometimes somebody probably said to you, "Hey, you got a great voice. You ever think of doing voiceover?" Right? If that was you, raise your hand. I know that we hear that all the time from people, but here we are to tell you that sorry, you got a great voice, and that's great because you have a terrific instrument. But ultimately, success in voiceover is not about having the best voice. In fact, it's actually a liability if someone's paying attention to the sound of your voice. Why? Because we're not here to show our voices off. We're here to sell a product. We're here to speak for the customer. And so if they're paying too much attention to us, that's not a good thing. And as a voice actor, you actually have to learn to disappear. That's an acting skill. In acting, we say, oh, he's chewing up the scenery, which means, we're paying too much attention to him, the person, and not the storyline. We don't believe that they're the character anymore. And in voiceover, you're always in character, even when you're doing the straight stuff, the corporate stuff. You're still a character. It's not you. So I'm the voice of Citibank. That's a character. I don't talk like that in my normal life. I don't say press one, press two. Those words have never left my mouth in casual conversation. That's a character. And when I was cast for City, it was so long ago, like 25 years ago, they actually had a list of how they wanted the bank to sound. It was like a whole list of characteristics, which I was able, as a voice actor, to give them to book a job that has been life-changing for me. So you're always in character. These are acting skills you guys need to acquire in addition to the beautiful voice you already have. Third thing is your voice must serve the character. So being always in character, and you might think, well, character is like Donald Duck or, cartoon characters. No, 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 no. In voiceover, we are always a character. Deborah, you want to speak to that when you coach our students?
Yes, absolutely. Even especially when I speak to people who are in love with audiobooks. And I tell them, excuse me, on a demo, what types of excerpts we like, for I always have it written down because it's hard to remember two fiction, one nonfiction. So the fiction is the imaginary, first person, third person. So the narrator is one of those three people. That
Yeah,
narrator is a character
that's
no
right.
matter what you're doing. And just like you said before, Susan, in every script, I mean, we're the character. We're the character.
We
And
are.
one last thing, I hear people saying, but I can't be. I tell them to lose that I can't, because it's not you. You're taking all the joy from what we do when you go back to just being you.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
we're characters,
it
and those are voice
brings us
acting
up if
skills.
we're
And
someone.
Felicia was like, I can't believe you've been the voice of City for 25 years. I have, because
Yeah.
of my voice acting skills.
Mhm.
So, David, anything quick you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, it's at the end of the day, I don't care if they're selling pharmaceuticals or underwear. Every client on the planet wants a storyteller,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point.
you know? And so we, as coaches, we teach you how to be conversational. We teach you how to be storytellers. We teach you how to find your voice
Mhm.
and how to turn off that critter that's in your head.
Yeah, I love that. The critter in your head. Yep. Yeah, so actors are storytellers, announcers are not. Announcers are listening to their own voice. So here's mistakes that clueless announcers make that the best voice actors never do. Number one, they have a problem called vocal narcissism, where I am in love with the sound of my voice.
Sunday,
Listen,
Sunday, Sunday.
exactly. I can't hear enough of me, and more me. Crank up those headphones. It's more me. That's a problem I call vocal narcissism. Um, or they speak into the air. They announce into the air. They're not talking to another person, as David and Deborah have been saying. They are, you're always speaking to one person. Announcers know they're like speaking out to anyone and everyone. It's like a stentorian, meaning stagey kind of a sound, and they have no point of view.
Exactly.
The point of view is a big acting skill that you need to learn. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you how you can get that skill. But those are three big mistakes that you guys need to avoid. And the worst VO announcer mistake you can make is perform to yourself,
Mm.
not talking to one other person. So now you guys have it.
Can I give you an example of that?
Sure, please.
So I was in radio for a long time. I always wore headphones. So
Yeah,
when I
me too.
started as a voice actor, I always wore headphones.
Mhm.
And then Susan, as my first mentor back in the day, said, "Oh, so you like the sound of your voice, do you?" And I'm going, "Well, yeah." And so gradually over time, I learned to take off my headphones and be a voice actor. What a concept!
Me
So
too.
it changed my
Absolutely.
life. Yeah,
Me
changed my
too.
life.
And it was very bizarro, like
Oh
you,
my
David, because
God, it
my
was
the whole first
insane.
15 years, I was
Yeah, it was
headphones glued to my head.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to actually train yourself to speak without listening to yourself. But you guys are new, so don't get in that bad habit.
Yep.
Only
That
use
does.
headphones if someone is directing you and you have to listen. You put them on obviously when you're editing yourself, but not when you're performing.
And
So
you know, now you
yeah, go ahead.
wonder, oh, why, how did I even do that? You know, because it seems it's so uncomfortable wearing headphones while you're working.
Yeah, it is. It's true. So actors think about scenes. In acting, there's always a scene. There's if you're on stage, there's stuff on the stage, scenery, props and things like that. If you're in a movie, even more so. But in voiceover, there's a scene, but it's invisible. So we need to figure out what it is and make it up in a way that makes sense. So,
Mhm.
and actors also think about, we were talking about point of view. So there are actually three points of view in a voiceover. And I'll tell you right now, the first point of view is what we call the first person when you are in the action of the script. So you're there, you're in the action, and in a minute I'll tell you how to get all the remaining two points of views. But David brought along this script, David.
Yes.
And I thought we would ask for a volunteer to get a little coaching, to get a taste of the kind of coaching you guys are going to get when you work with our coach, Tia Marlier, who is one of our best voice acting coaches. She's got a performance workshop coming up. But I want a volunteer who has a terrible announcer, if you think you have an announcer voice,
You're gonna get a lot of people raising.
let's get a few hands raised. If you think you have an announcer voice or you just can't stand the way you sound, let's get Bob on.
All right.
Yeah, Bob is our
Bob,
wonderful.
I've invited Bob to unmute. Everyone else.
Thank you. Hi,
Yeah, you
Bob. How
know
are
I have
you?
an announcer voice
What a
because I've been
cool,
told that for years.
what a cool beard you have, though. That's
Thank you.
interesting. All right, Bob. So here's a Jeep commercial.
Okay.
And before we give you any coaching, why don't you just read it the way you would read it?
Okay. This winter, Jeep 4 by E lets you choose your adventure. Choose electric mode and bring on even more capability and efficiency. Or choose gas mode and tackle the elements with extended range. And 4 by E comes in your choice of our most capable Jeep Wrangler ever. Or our most awarded SUV ever. Make it the year of your adventure in Jeep 4 by E.
Okay, good. Very nice. Thank you, Bob. I know we put you on the spot. Now, if you would please, first of all, your gain is a little high, so you're
Okay.
slightly distorted. Just bring
That
that
right,
down a
Donna?
little. Yeah, David,
Yeah.
can you do a little, since you were kind enough to provide this script, do a little bit of coaching with Bob
Okay.
to help him be a little more conversational. So,
Bob, do you talk with your hands at all?
I do not.
Okay, good.
I do when I'm mad.
Then at least unfold them, unless that's a comfortable position for
No, this
you.
is
yeah.
good.
And you can bring the gain back up.
Yeah, you can bring the game back up a
Yeah,
little
split
bit.
the
I just
difference.
want you to
Alright.
be relaxed, be in your own skin,
Okay.
just enjoy your chair, and try to relax just a little bit. Go a little
Right.
slower. Soften your voice just a little bit so you're not projecting as the announcer so much. So instead of this winter Jeep by 4E, it's more like this winter Jeep by 4E. Just soften it up a little bit. Be a little more conversational. See, just read the first sentence. See how it feels to you.
And
Alright.
Bob can bring the gain up even a little more. I think you're still a little soft.
How's that?
Yeah, that's
Good.
good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This winter, Jeep 4 by E lets you choose your adventure.
Okay. Now I want you to slow it down even more and I want
All
you to
right.
smile, please.
This winter, Jeep 4 by E lets you choose your adventure.
How did that feel?
Much better. The
Much better.
smiling part is important. I know that from singing, and I forget about that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And being uncomfortably slow is
Also,
something that I have to tell most every student I work with because we're so used to going so fast. And so when you're able to be uncomfortably slow, you automatically become more conversational. You don't have to think about punctuation because it just kind of shows up. And when you do it a few times, all of a sudden it becomes a part of your wheelhouse. So
okay.
nice job.
Thank you.
Let's have it do another one. Do one more. So if you could talk to that one person, do we ask him? I mean, let's get our guy back, Mr. Winters. Come back. I want him to do one more take for us.
All right.
Yeah. Who are you talking to?
Good
And where-
question. I'm
where
looking at
are-
all the people on the screen. I should pick one that's not really there.
Actually, pick a friend of yours.
Okay.
And I want you to tell us also, where are you? Because we talked about the one point of view, you're in the action. So who are you talking to?
I try and get that out of the script, and I find it to be, and I think this was brought up in one of the classes, the way it's written doesn't make it conversational, but you have to figure that out at the same time.
It never will be. It'll
Yeah.
be written horribly. So talk to a friend, someone you
Okay.
actually know, and tell me their name.
Let's go with Ted.
Okay, so you're talking to Ted.
All right.
Where are you? The first point of view, you guys are in the action. Where are you and Ted when you're
I was
talking?
sitting at a bar.
You know which bar? Which bar?
A place called Gunselman's right here in Fairview Park, Ohio.
Love it. Okay, very specific. Great work.
All
Now
right.
you're in Gonselman's talking to
Okay.
your friend, and you say, just like you would normally talk to him.
This winter Jeep 4, see, and that's where that really fractures me right there, but I got to work through that.
Can I suggest, Bob, you're reading this winter Jeep 4, like winter is part of the name of the product. It's not.
Winter
It's
comma.
this
There's no
winter.
comma in there.
This
Yeah,
winter.
and I think that's what
Jeep
I'm looking
4 by
for, and
E.
it's not. So
Yeah.
it's a time of year, and I'm
Right,
not seeing that
exactly.
because of the punctuation.
Sure.
So.
And you can always repunctuate your script, and forgive me because I should have put a comment in there.
Okay,
you can,
that's fair.
And you can always mumble in.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
let's let him layer that on later, but yeah, go right ahead. Go ahead.
This winter, Jeep 4 by E lets you choose your adventure. Choose electric mode and bring let me slow down now. So
Yeah, nice
boy.
and slow. And more smile, okay? Just a little more smile.
this winter, Jeep 4 by E lets you choose your adventure. Choose electric mode and bring on even more capability and efficiency. Or choose gas mode and tackle the elements with extended range. And 4xe comes in your choice of our most capable Jeep Wrangler ever, or our most awarded SUV ever. Make it the year of your adventure in Jeep 4xe.
Bye-bye, announcer.
That was so great. Yes, we
Thank you.
just de-announced you, Bob.
It's
Great work.
Gotta create a habit now.
I'm
I
now
told
anointing
him-
you a voice actor.
Thank
you
you.
got some actor in you.
I,
That's
I
great.
did say David would be able to get the announcer right out of his voice in minutes. I was right.
Bob,
you,
that
Donna.
was great. That was really
Right.
nice. Very, very nice.